Sometimes you gotta let them go. I know it's hard, but you're better on your own. I know the scars got you feeling all alone. I know it's hard, but you gotta let them go. Say it with me, everything is okay, yeah, hey, yeah, hey, yeah, yeah. But you gotta let them go. I know it's hard, but you're better on your own. Yeah, on your own, yeah. All these feelings kept, I wanna be over it, but something deep inside makes me feel alone again. They were in my life, never got that closure yet. Push the pain aside, it's heavy when I'm sober, yeah. Turn my thoughts off, I'm over it. 2 shots too deep, I'm alone again. This ain't healthy, she's never helped me, and that's why sometimes you gotta let them go. I know it's hard, but you're better on your own. I know the scars got you feeling all alone. I know it's hard, but you gotta let them go. Say it with me, everything is okay, yeah, hey, yeah, hey, yeah, yeah. But you gotta let them go. I know it's hard, but you're better on your own. Yeah, on your own, yeah. I know it's hard, yeah, they were in your heart, yeah. A little piece of you broken and discarded. You need to be, you get space from all the darkness. Pull all the weeds from the
Yo, it's Coach Ed. Got the insights, no boats. From the rookies in the youth leagues to the seasoned pros. Ladies balling, fellas fighting all around the globe. Breaking it down dynamic. You know, tune in, listen up. Don't want to miss the flow. It's Coach Ed's Read and Attack the Sports Show. From the courts to the field, he's got the stats. Dropping knowledge is where the real fans at. So stand up, get ready for the play. Wave your arms in the air, let's hear you say. Coach Ed, our mentor on the mic. Breaking down the game, every highlight. Analyzing plays, court the turf the light. Youth leagues, college dreams, pro spotlight. Tackling the facts, defense or attack. He's got the vision, shows you where it's at. We grab the scoop, no stone left unturned. In Coach Ed's realm, the knowledge earned.
Hey, yo, what's going on, everyone? It's me, it's Coach Ed, and I'm bringing to you another episode 14 of the Coach Ed's Read and Attack Sports Show Live. Thanks, guys, for tuning in. I really appreciate everyone taking the time to rock with me. Ready to bring you my perspective on the different sports scenes that are going on out there, whether it's the NFL, NBA, women's sports, the Olympics. It doesn't matter. We're going to sit down and we're going to talk about it. And I'm going to give you my perspective on the sport. So, again, thanks, everyone, for tuning in. Make sure you guys hit that like button, everyone, whether you're new to the channel or you've been here all the time, man. It really helps the channel. If you are new, make sure you guys subscribe and hit the notification. You'll always know when I post new content. And everyone, share on all your social media platforms. Again, it really helps me out. It's free for you guys to do. And it helps me out immensely. So thanks a lot. So I'm going to get ready to get into it. Before I do, let's take a look in the chat, see who's here. What's up, Philly? Thanks for being here, man. I really appreciate you always supporting me. Thanks a lot. Daniel Berry, day one, always rocking with the coach. So thanks a lot, man, for being here. Make sure you guys tap into the chat. Let me know you're here. Say hello, coach, or comment on whatever we're talking about. So right now, we're going to dive into it because, hey, it's back, man. We're getting preseason games. Last week, we had the Hall of Fame. And now last night, we had 2 preseason games. So pretty interesting games. You had the Panthers over the Carolina Panthers 17-3, and the Giants over the Detroit Lions 14-3. Now, these are preseason games. So a lot of these are going to be about in the first full weekend of the preseason action, it's going to be a lot of teams playing their backup players. So, I don't want to say backup, but your second, your third string players, trying to get a look at these guys. You don't want to play your key players right now this week. God forbid something happen. Next week is probably going to be when you see a lot more of the key players playing. And then that last preseason game, again, guys who are on the back end fighting for a roster spot, that's when you take a look at them. So, but again, it was very interesting. What's up, Chad, man? Thanks for being here, man. I really appreciate you. Clap, clap, smack, smack, jelly cakes, baby. You know how we do. So, but yeah, again, last night was pretty interesting. New England over Carolina, 17-3. I mean, when you sit down and you look at the box scores, Carolina did not play their starting quarterback, which I kind of expected. You had Jake Plummer and Jake Luton pulling most of doing most of the work. They were a total of 18-30 for 89 total yards. So not truly effective, overall in the passing attack. Rushing a total of 62 yards on 17 total carries. So again, it really doesn't look like it was much of a pass-heavy game. Sorry, it wasn't 89 yards. It was actually, they took the sacks off of the yards. I mean, the receiving yards actually totaled 124 yards, but they had 35 yards in sacks. So you actually subtract that from the passing yards. So I actually get it. What's up, normal guy? Thanks for tapping in, man. I really appreciate you, man, for being here. But yeah, getting back into it. One of the things that I wanted to talk about, because going over to New England, you had Billy Zappi. They played 4 quarterbacks: Billy Zappi, Joe Milton, Drake May, and Jacoby Brissett. So it's going to be an interesting battle down the wire. Drake May is not going in here. They brought Jacoby Brissett in to be that veteran backup, but now is Brissett going to actually battle Billy Zappi? I mean, because when I sit here, look at the stat, Zappi was 12 of 20 for 108 yards, while Brissett was 0 of 3. So it's you can see that New England is really trying to see if Zappi fits in. Brissett is, like I said, he's going to be that veteran. And then Joe Milton was 4 of 6 for 54 yards. So, again, they said they were impressed with him, with his play. I think he had 22 yards rushing. He had 5 yards for 22 yards. Overall total, New England was 18-32 for 161 yards passing, 1 touchdown. So they were much more effective, especially playing in some challenging weather, because it was in the Northeast. It was very rainy, cold. Most fans would say dreary. A big guy like me loves football like that. So because we get to really hit, and skill guys are a little bit cold, so we get a little bit more energy, because we're big guys and we can move around and we can take that cold weather because we have a little bit more girth. So, but that's me. That's how I always looked at it. So, but the real reason why I wanted to talk about New England is Keyshawn Boutte, former LSU wide receiver, fighting for a roster spot with New England. He had 3 receptions for 53 yards. That's 17.7 yards average. He was actually totaled. He actually had 6 targets, so he had a long of 28 yards. And then Jaquay Jackson. Now, I'm telling you guys, for you guys who don't know, yes, I am partial to Jaquay Jackson because he's from Rutgers, but he was one of our top receivers. He had 1 reception, 38 yards, and their lone touchdown. So he also had 1 target. But when he ran his pattern, he ran it beautifully, got wide open, and quarterback, I actually found him. I forgot who it was who found him. It was Joe Milton. Joe Milton rolled to his left a little bit, slid to his left, manipulated pocket, found Jaquay Jackson. Jackson was wide open, who literally waltzed into the end zone. But I'm telling you now, he's a very good wide receiver, and it would not surprise me. He's an undrafted free agent, but it would not surprise me if he makes New England's roster. I've heard that they have some pretty good receivers over there, young developing receivers, Boutte, Jackson, Jalen Pope from Washington. These are young receivers who are eager to, make a roster, whether it's on the practice squad, whether it's on special teams, but, they have the young players over there. And then with Drake May and Joe Milton as young quarterbacks, if those two make it, they're really positioning themselves for the long run. So I really appreciated just sitting down, watching a little bit of the game, breaking down a little bit of the film. And I said, okay, New England is definitely going to be a team that you're going to reckon with. They've always had a great defense, no matter what. Defensively, I think they're going to be one of the better defenses in the league. They're going to put players in the right position to be successful. I mean, it's kind of ironic. A former Giant is up there, O'Shane Ximenez. I was looking at his stats. He had 4 tackles, 4 total tackles, 2 solos, 1 sack, 1 tackle for a loss, and 1 quarterback hit. So, 2 quarterback hits. 2 solo tackles, 4 total, 1 sack, 1 tackle for a loss, 1 quarterback, 2 quarterback hits. So it's going to be interesting to watch him. But they have some good talent up there. They run a very good scheme defensively, and I appreciate it. Not a big New England fan, but I'm definitely going to be keeping an eye out on for them up there. So. Yeah, you're right, Norman. There's more preseason games going on tonight, so I was going to touch base on that. I think, let me just dive into that real quick. I'll get into the Giants in 1 second. Of course, that's my team. So, but in terms of the games for today, you have New England at Pittsburgh is at 7, Atlanta at Miami. Philly is at Baltimore at 7:30, actually. So that's what it looks like. You have 3 games tonight. And then tomorrow you have Washington at the Jets at 12. Buffalo is hosting Chicago. So that's going to be kicking off at 1 o'clock on Saturday. And I know a lot of people want to tune in because you want to see, I'm not expecting Josh Allen, but you want to see Williams, what he's going to do. You have Vegas at Minnesota on Saturday, Green Bay at Cleveland, that's 4:25. The Minnesota Vegas is at 4 o'clock. Tampa Bay at Cincinnati at 7. Kansas City at Jacksonville at 7. San Fran at Tennessee at 7. Seattle at the Chargers at 7:05. New Orleans at Arizona, all on Saturday. Sunday, you have Denver at Indianapolis at 1, and then Dallas at the Rams at 4:30. So that's the list of the preseason games that are coming up for this weekend. Again, like I said, it's more about the backups. I'm going to be interested, of course, in Pittsburgh and Houston. I'm probably going to tap in a little bit later. Part of that is because my dad's a Steelers fan. I grew up as a young kid watching the Steelers of the 70s. They're kind of my backup team behind the Giants, that I do root for. But also Houston, they're playing Houston. And CJ Stroud, I believe, is going to play a series or 2, while Pittsburgh has Justin Fields starting for them. So, it's going to be interesting watching those 2 quarterbacks. And that's one thing I want to watch. And then the other one was that I'm interested in is where is it? Where is it? Yeah, Atlanta and Miami. That's where it is. I'm interested in Atlanta to see if they're going to play Michael Penix Jr. And if he does get a little play, I definitely want to see what he's going to do, in terms of his playing time. I figure they're going to start him. I can't see them starting Cousins, so, but yeah, I'm expecting a lot of the young rookies to get some playing time. And again, like I said, it's football time, baby, and that's exciting for me right now. because this is the NFL, but it also leads up to college football. College football will be here in a couple weeks. I know my Scarlet Knights are playing in literally 19, 20 days. So they're kicking off on it's 2 weeks from yesterday. Yeah, they're no 3 weeks. Sorry. So I'm excited for that too. So but hey, this is the great time. If you're a football fan, high schools are getting started. If in some states, some start in August, some start in September. So no matter what, it's a great time if you're a football fan. This is the back end of the year, and this is what it's all about. So now I want to talk a little bit about my New York Giants. Of course, I have to do that. And in watching the game, the Giants, played the Detroit Lions earlier in the week, Monday and Tuesday. They had joint practices. There were a lot of altercations. Screw that. There were a lot of fights, So, as a coach, I like seeing that in terms of not a large amount of fights, but I like to see my players, step up, get tired of hitting each other, go against another team, but also step up and show their toughness and show that they're not going to back down from anyone. And that's the thing that the Giants did. And then in this game Saturday, a lot of the reserve guys, who played, that's what they showed me. They actually showed me that, they're going to step up and they're going to fight. Guys who are fighting for a roster spot, definitely are going to be out there and they're going to want to fight for a position. I mean, if you look at the overall total stats, let's see, Detroit total passing yards was 110. Let me see the team stats that they break it down. They're both teams were pretty much even on first downs. 15 for Detroit, 14 for New York. Total plays 67 for Detroit, 54 for New York. 228 total offensive yards for Detroit, 250 for New York. Passing, they accounted for a total of 110 passing for Detroit, 95 for New York. But rushing, Detroit was at 118. While New York was at 155. And again, each team had, Detroit had one turnover, New York had two. A fumble loss, that's right, after an interception, and both threw an interception. So Detroit had gave up 4 sacks for 22 yards, while New York gave up 2 for 14. And the 2 for 14 for me was a problem because it wasn't more about the offensive line. It was more that the quarterbacks were just standing in the pocket a little bit too long for my pleasure. You can't expect an offensive line to hold their blocks for 4 to 5 seconds a game. That's not feasible. But when you look at the overall New York in terms of the passing, Drew Lock was 4 of 10, 17 yards with that interception. He had 1 sack for 4 yards, gave up 1 sack for 4 yards. He really didn't look comfortable. He was very off. He wasn't. His reads weren't efficient. I know some people were saying that he wasn't putting the ball to Malik Neighbors, who was open a couple times. I haven't seen all 22. So, but from what the couple that I did see, there was one play I said, yeah. There's another one I said no. It was a cover 2 look that the cornerback was underneath with the safety over the top. So I didn't consider that a misread. So Tommy DeVito, though, he was 8 of 15 for 92 yards, 1 sack for minus 10 yards. So, and in terms of Detroit, Nate Sudfeld, who played most of the game, 13 to 24, 96 yards. He gave up 4 sacks for 22 yards. Hendon Hooker, who when he was in there, 5 of 9, 36 yards, no sacks. Did a good job moving around in the pocket, using his legs. He had no major ill effects from his knee issues when he was coming out of college, where he blew out his knee. Last year was like a redshirt year, but he showed that he was pretty agile and effective. Even trucked one of the Giants' defensive backs. I mean, literally ran him over. But he ended up getting a concussion and had to leave, which is why Sudfeld finished the game. In terms of rushing, Hooker was their leading rusher, 4 carries, 34 yards, 8.5 yards rush average. Sione Vika, 4 carries, 29 yards, 7.3. So that was pretty much it. Everything else was very marginal or mediocre. For the Giants, you had Dante Turbo Miller, 12 carries, 63 yards, 5.3 yards. And then Eric Gray, 4 carries, 52 yards, 2 touchdowns. He even had a long run of 48 yards. Beautiful run. And when he did run, hit the hole quickly, juked out a defensive back and showed a great explosiveness on that long touchdown run where he wasn't going to get caught from behind. And another running back, Tyrone Tracy, rookie running back out of Purdue. He was 5 carries for 26 yards, 5.2 average. So New York was very efficient in their run game and how they attacked Detroit. Now, prior to the preseason game, one of the things that I had a concern about with the Giants, and I was on record as saying I think they're going to attack more off tackle to the outside. Kudos to Coach Dable. And also the whole offense, the offensive line coach and the offensive line, they attacked Detroit right down the middle of their defense. A lot of the runs were right up inside the tackles. And, they were running between the A and the B gaps for the most part. Very few runs to the outside. Yes, it was a very basic game plan. But that was something that I really appreciated because I questioned the level of physicality. I think it was going to be more of a finesse run game, but they were running duo. Now, I didn't see them run power, but their inside zone, the way they were running it was very physical, and I really did appreciate it. The other thing that I did appreciate, they did put the quarterback under the center. Not a lot of they were shotguns, but it was more quarterback under the center than I anticipated. So, and if that goes a long way, now I know these are backups. These are second, third level players, but just looking at that vanilla concept, if you can incorporate that with your main players offensively, to me it will open up that offense a whole lot more. Especially if you're able to run the way they were doing. I mean, I see some of the schemes that offensive line coach Carmen Brasilia is instilling. I mean, there was one end zone view that I saw that you had the right tackle was extended, creating a bigger gap. It creates a different angle for your blocking in terms of your offensive lineman, whether it's a down block. I mean, there were plays that, schemes that I was very impressed. You had one play where, they were going to the right, to the strong side, and on the back side, normally, if you cut back, you do a lot of cut off blocks on the backside where they had the tackle and the guards probably scoop, maybe take control of a play side. A backside defensive lineman. But here there was one in particular where they the center kicked back, the guard kicked out to take out the end while the tackle scooped to go get second level linebacker. That was beautiful. And for me, even though it is simple, that is something that you don't normally see. And if that's incorporated into the offense, then that's something that's a thing of beauty. And I'm really excited to watch the Giants, more and more as they install more of the offense, and then also watch the offensive line play. I mean, I'm really intrigued to sit back and watch that. So, but kudos to Coach Dable, especially in a day where it was also dreary here in New Jersey. So you want to try and run a little bit more to control the clock. And that was also one of the things that I've always questioned when it gets to be bad weather. What are you going to do? So that shows me that Dave's, he has it in his playbook. So it's not always going to be off tackle to the outside. He's going to run up the gut, and he has the players to do it. Tracy is showing that he can do it. Gray is showing that he can do it. So kudos to them. Even Miller, he did run up inside, smaller back, but he was running up inside. So, and a lot of this is also kudos to the offensive line. These guys were out there really being physical at the point of attack when necessary. And Detroit, while they are not an elite defensive line, they are a good defensive line. So they were out there really taking it to Detroit and controlling the line of scrimmage. So I did appreciate that. I did like that, and I'm looking forward to just sitting back and watching more from the Giants offense. Defensively, the new scheme, these players look like they're taking to it. They did a good job. Even Boogie Basham, Giants fans will tell you, they're not overly excited by Boogie Basham, but he was putting pressure on the quarterback. He got sacks. He got quarterback pressures. He got hits. And that's something that, you kind of get excited. What is it? Was it more of a product that he was just not good for Wink Martindale's system, which is probably what it is? And this new system with Shane Bowen is more suited to his skill set. Time will tell. So, I do appreciate it. Again, a lot of vanilla stuff, even in the back end with their coverages, but it looks like the players picked up the zones. They were fine. They were good. They understood what they were doing. Couple of blown coverages that I saw, but nothing major, nothing drastic, so, players were, doing very well defensively. Kudos. Let me shout out some of the defensive players. Darren Beavers says had 5 total tackles, 3 solo, 1 tackle for a loss. One of the other players, Deontay Johnson, I wanted to shout him out. 4 total tackles, 2 solo, 1 sack, 2 tackles for a loss. And there was one play where quarterback did play action away, turned and booted going to his left, and Johnson read the play perfectly, shot and chased down the quarterback and got him for that tackle for a loss. So he did not allow that to be further. Like I said, Boogie Basham, 4 total tackles, 2 solo, 1 sack, 1 tackle for a loss, 2 pass defended. Again, he was doing very well. Matthew Adams, 4 total tackles, 3 solo. Ove Ohufo, 4 total tackles, 4 solo, 1 pass defense. Like I said, these guys were out there doing well. Looks like the Giants had a total of 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 pass defended yesterday. I mean, that's very well. That's high. I mean, conversely, it looks like Detroit had 5. And that to me is normal, about 3 to 5 a game. So the Giants doing and getting 8 shows that these guys are understanding the defensive scheme and they're playing very well. So, but again, preseason game, I don't want to get too crazy, but what I'm looking for is a certain level of number one, this is your standard. And now I'm going to be looking for progress. But how are the players adjusting to a new defensive system? How are the players also adjusting to Dable, who's the play caller? So definitely wanted to highlight that, and I'm looking for a lot more as we go along. There was a trade today that I just wanted to touch on. The Minnesota Vikings and the Dallas Cowboys were involved in the trade. The Cowboys received cornerback Andrew Booth from the Vikings. He was the number 42 pick in the 2022 draft. And the Vikings are getting cornerback Nashawn Wright, a 3rd-round pick in the 2021 draft. These guys really, they've played some. Booth has only played 11% of the defensive snaps over 2 seasons, while Wright played in 22 games over 3 with 3 starts and 1 interception. So, but again, that was just a trade. That's something I just wanted to touch about real quick. And in terms of the Cowboys, I'm going to be paying attention to that because there's a lot going on with them. Jerry Jones basically saying that he's not really overly concerned about. What's up, Raf? Thanks for tapping in, brother. I really appreciate you, man. Salute to you, Raf El Capitan Rafael El Fucho. But he doesn't have this level of urgency to sign CD Lamb. So, and CD Lamb basically, did it on Twitter. He basically said LOL. So, how do you take that? I basically say if I'm a Cowboy fan, I'm concerned with that because why is your owner going on going out publicly and putting that out there? Basically you say, look, whether you want to say you don't want to put that out there, look, that's something that we're going to talk about and deal with. There's always a level of urgency. You always want to have your players, signed, but in due time, we'll see what happens. Yeah, you're right, Arco. It is a mess. It is a mess with everything that's going on from them, with Dak Prescott leaving them out there right now in the last year. You're basically giving him the control. Mike McCarthy, depending on what happened, he's right now, this is his last year. So what type of message is that sending throughout your organization? On the outside looking in, people will sit here and say, there goes Jerry Jones meddling again, and I can understand that logic, to come out and, say, there's no sense of urgency. And here's the kicker that, really takes me to another level. He's laughing about it. It's not just, you're making the comment, but, you're joking with the reporters while saying this. If I'm a player, I'm like, are you taking me serious? I don't care what you might have told my agent or even told me, but in a situation like that, what are you saying to me? What are you really saying, in that regard? So, that's something that is really interesting. If I'm a Cowboy fan, concerning, but for me as a Giants fan, it's interesting because, hey, go ahead, Jerry, go ahead, and keep waiting, because that also may raise your price, because don't forget, other receivers are getting money. So right now, CeeDee Lamb waiting is going to cost you more money. So, go ahead. Interesting. Little side note in terms of Eagle Land, I just wanted to, say Nick Foles has officially retired as an Eagle. They said he announced that he's going to retire. So says that he's going to retire during the Eagles home opener. So, kudos to them, and, with his career, helping them win their only Super Bowl. So shout out to him, but hey, he's off into the sunset in a sense. So, and one last thing, with the Giants, I forgot about this. Sorry about that. There is concern with Drew Lock. He did get nicked up, and right now it's saying that he's probably going to be out for about 2 weeks, which is the rest of the preseason. So, what are the Giants going to do? Are they going to bring in another quarterback just to, have 3 on the roster? I mean, Locke has a 1-year deal with up to $5 million in guarantees. 4 of 10 passing is not good. And again, some Giants fans are saying that DeVito is outplaying him during the preseason. So we're going to see what's going to happen. So, but again, for everybody, looking for some great football action, it's back, baby. It's back. If you've been starved for football, now is the time to sit back and enjoy, the games that are coming on. So, but that's going to be it right now. I'm now going to go ahead and move on to the quote unquote America's pastime. And just real quick, just in terms of quick standing outlook, you have in the AL East, you have Baltimore and New York are both tied at 68 and 48. Boston is 61 and 52. They're in third place, 5.5 behind. Tampa Bay is 58 and 56, 9 games back, and Toronto is 53 and 62, 14.5 behind. In the Central, you have the Cleveland Guardians at 67 and 48, leading the Central. Minnesota is 2.5 behind at 64 and 50. The Kansas City Royals are at 64 and 52. They're 3.5 behind. The Detroit Tigers are 55 and 61, 12.5 behind. And the Chicago White Sox, 28 and 89, 40 games behind Cleveland. Wow. That's wow. That's not even interesting. That's sad. But going out to the West, you have the Houston Astros in a tie with Seattle. but they're in the front. Houston is 59-55, while Seattle is 60-56. The Texas Rangers are 54-61. They're 5.5 behind. The Los Angeles Angels are 51-64, 8.5 behind. And the Oakland Athletics, or wherever they're going to be, are at 48-68, 12.5 behind. When I look, there's the wild card. And in terms of wild card, they actually have New York leading the wild card. It's New York or Baltimore, but New York is leading. And then with Minnesota in the number 2 spot there, looks like they're roughly 4 games behind New York. And then Kansas City's in third, with Boston, Seattle, and Tampa Bay all fighting to get into the wild card right there. Now, if we go over to the National League, looks like the Phillies, they have the overall record. They're leading the league overall. They're 69-46. The Mets are second in the NL East at 61-54. They're 8 games behind. Atlanta is 60-54. They're 8.5 behind. The National Wachados are 52-64, 17.5 behind. The Miami Marlins are 43-73, 26.5 behind. In the Central, Milwaukee Brewers are leading at 65-49. The St. Louis Cardinals are 7 games back at 59-57. The Pittsburgh Pirates are 56-58, 9 games back. The Chicago Cubs are 57-60, 9.5. And then the Cincinnati Reds are 56-59, also 9.5 back. And then out west, Los Angeles Dodgers are 66-49, leading the West. San Diego Padres are 2.5 back at 64-52. The Arizona Diamondbacks are 63-53, 3.5 back. San Francisco Giants are 59-58, 8 games back. And the Colorado Rockies are at 42-74, 24.5 behind. And then in the wild card for the National League, you have San Diego leading with Arizona and the Mets in the last wild card spot. You have the Braves, St. Louis, San Francisco, and then Pittsburgh right there. All fighting for that last wild card spot out in the National League. So that's what's going on in the standings. I believe, let me just double check here. And yeah, I did. That's what I thought. The White Sox fired their manager, Pedro Grifol. Grady Sizemore is the interim manager. This was actually done. I think this was done yesterday, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, this happened yesterday. So, I mean, they it's understandable. They went on a 21 game losing streak. They did just win 1 game, but they ended up firing the manager, and I get it. I understand why. I mean, you got to have a change right there. In a situation like that, you don't want to ever see anyone, get fired. But in a situation like that, something has to change, man. And that's just getting them ready for the off season where they're going to end up bringing in a new manager. So, but hey, they're right now the face of futility in terms of baseball. So that's where the change comes into play. Also in the Shohei Ohtani ex-interpreter case, the bookie pled guilty in the case. It says South California bookmaker who took bets pled guilty in terms of running an illegal gambling business. He also pled guilty to money laundering and subscribing to a false tax return. So he's going to get sentenced in February. That this is basically putting an end to that whole situation. But hey, look, there's legal ways of doing it. And if you're in the business, hey, you have no business you have no business betting. And, if you're a bookie, you better be smart, not get yourself caught up in, something dealing with some of these players. And if you do, hey, I don't feel sorry for you. So, but that's going to be it in baseball. Oops, I forgot to change the banner. So I'm going to go ahead now and move on to talking to you guys about the Olympics. So a lot going on right now in the Olympics, man. I mean, first things first, let me just start with this. In terms of the medal tracker, right now, the United States is leading in total medals, 111 total. China is the next closest at 83. So that tells you how dominant the United States has been. Now, both China and the United States have 33 golds. The United States, in terms of silver, has 39 and also 39 in bronze. China has 27 silver and 23 gold. The next closest to China is Great Britain and France with 57 and 56 respectively. So it's just been, to me, a domination in terms of the United States, in terms of the overall performance of the athletes, and that just speaks to the level of commitment that you have from athletes here in the United States. Other countries, yes, they want to beat the United States, and I understand, but you know what? This is where a lot of the best athletes are in the world. So, one of the things I wanted to talk about that I was watching today is the women's track and field, the 4x1 by the women. The women ended up winning gold in that event. Shout out to Sha'Carri Richardson, who ran the anchor leg, and she pulled it out for the United States because coming around that last turn, I think they were in third or fourth coming around around that bend. But Richardson showed why she is the best sprinter in all the track and field. And I don't go by, she didn't win the gold, because there was the whole story behind how they wouldn't let her in, and she had to walk for an extended period of time. Someone told me an hour just to go to another gate to get in, because they changed the rules for entry the night before without letting everyone know, whatever. But again, getting back to the 4x1, Richardson shows why she's, the best at running the 100 meters. So kudos to her. It looks like they won. They won at 41.7 seconds, which is 0.7 seconds faster than Britain, which came second. So, but that's something that I was looking forward to. The women's 4x100, I was definitely eager to see them perform and see the outcome. And again, like I said, those ladies put on a show, man. And if you haven't seen it, just pull it up and just watch. You'll see the grit, determination, the fortitude, the willpower of these women going out there. Now, in the men's 4x1, the United States ended up being disqualified. Over the first turn, there was issues where the number two runner on the leg, let me get his name just to say his name. Christian Coleman started out well for the United States, but Kenny Bednarek at the first handover, he took off a little bit too early, where Coleman was still trying to catch up to him, and eventually they went beyond the exchange line, which is why they were disqualified. They would have lost anyway. They wouldn't have medaled anyway. I think they would have come in seventh spot, but it was brutal to watch, man. And this continues the continuous struggle that the men are having in the 4x100. I think it's been 20 years since they last medaled, and 24 years since they last won a gold medal in the 4x100. And it always seems to be every year something is going wrong with the relay team. And I don't know what they need to do to fix it. congratulations to Canada. They won. And you know, it just says how many, what was the record? Canada won with, it's not giving me, I don't have the time, but the bottom line is Canada won. Now there was also some issues because Noah Lyles, one of the top sprint runners for the United States, he ended up not running because he ended up with COVID. He ran the 200 yesterday and then had to be pulled because he ended up with COVID. You know, and he was on that 4x1 relay. He was actually going to be on the anchor leg, so. I don't think it would have changed anything in that regard. I did hear that they made adjustments to, you know, the whole team, but again, the first, the second, you know, that's where the biggest issue is. So, or was. So, you know, again, they need to figure out what they need, how to fix this, man, because this right there is just disheartening, especially when you have the women who are out there and they're competing at a high level consistently. You know, why is it that the men are not performing at the same level? You know, because you do practice together in a sense. You're at the same facility. You know, you may not practice with each other, but you know, you're still a team, and you are there and you are performing, are practicing. So I am hopeful that they figure out a way to help improve the 4x1, because it takes away from the great talent that's here in the United States in the 4x1 relay races. So, but we'll see what happens going forward. Also, but I'm going to talk about it in terms of basketball. Yesterday, the men competed and they played in the semifinal rounds in the basketball. You had the men come from behind to defeat Serbia 95-91. There was a point in time they were down 15 points in the second half. 15 points. They had to battle back, and it took everyone to really contribute. Steph Curry led the way with 36 points. LeBron James had a triple-double. Joel Embiid put in 19 points. It just was Serbia, the United States. Prior to that, they always handled them. But, you know, Joker Nokic from the Denver Nuggets, you know, continue to show why he's one of the elite players in basketball in the NBA. What's his name? Bogdan Bogdanovic, not to be with the other Bogdanovic. He put on a show, 19 points. Even looking at Melo and doing his patented 3 to the dome shot for after he was hitting 3-pointers. You know, Melo even said, you know, nothing but respect to him. But again, United States, they did fight from behind. You know, coming back, fighting hard in the fourth quarter. I mean, it was an exciting game. It was great to see the United States fight their way back. They were playing a high level of defense in that fourth quarter, you know, giving Serbia a lot of issues, you know, so they ended up coming back to win, and they're going to be taking on France, which beat Germany. Ugh, that hurts me to say that. You know, I wanted the homeland to get there to play the United States, but you know, France being in France, you know, came back to win, and you know, it's going to be a big showdown. You know, hey, is Wembanyama going to be able to, you know, help lead that team, lead France against the United States? Will this battle against Serbia awaken something, and those guys really get locked in and focused in and come back out and really say, we're not going to allow this to get close? You know, so that's what I'm looking for. I believe they're going to be playing on Sunday. Yeah, the gold medal game is, Saturday. So they're playing tomorrow against France. The bronze medal game is Serbia and Germany. So, and also tomorrow you have the United States women's team taking on Brazil in soccer. So It's going to be it's going to be an exciting time in the United States tomorrow to watch our teams competing for gold medals. In terms of the women's basketball, you had France beat Belgium 81-75. So they're going to be taking on the United States, who blew out Australia 85-64. I mean, there was a point in time the United States today was up by 30 points. Excuse me. I mean, it was a total annihilation. What's up, man? Cade, thanks for tapping in, man. I really appreciate you. Yeah, that's right. Hit the like button and subscribe and share on all social media platforms, man. And salute to the chat. Thanks a lot, man, Cade. You know, shout out to you and your show the other day, man. Phenomenal job, man. I really appreciated what you brought to the table. But yeah, United States. It just seemed like everyone was stepping up. Asha Wilson, Breanna Stewart, even Natisha, Nafisa Collier. I mean, it just everyone was stepping up. Chelsea Gray, I mean, had a lot of good deflections, steals, you know, taking it right out of defenders. I mean, the offensive players' hands. I mean, everyone contributed to this game. It got a little sloppy going down the stretch. You know, they kind of went into cruise control. You know, like I said, they were up by 30. Australia did fight back, and you know, they basically said, you know, look, you know, they got to play with some pride. But again, you know, just the United States was too talented. You know, Brittany Griner, you know, doing a little bit of damage out there, especially with her size. But Australia has WNBA players out there who were competing. Ezzy Megbubor, Alana Smith, just a couple of them I'm forgetting off the top of my head. Sorry about that, but they definitely competed. They didn't give up, and that's also a testament to you know, head coach Sandy Bardella, head coach of the New York Liberty. Sorry we had to do that to you, but you know, we have to move on. And now we take on France, and United States is going to be also taking on another team playing on their home court. It's a double dipper. You know, both, you know, men's and women taking on the French team. Also on the French team, former New York Liberty. Well, I don't want to say former. She took a break for this year. Is Marine Johannes. She wanted to focus on the Olympics for her home country, so that's why she didn't play with the Liberty this year. So, but it's going to be a great game. That game is actually Sunday. Yeah, the gold medal game is on Sunday. You have Australia and Belgium taking on the bronze, and then the United States and France playing in the gold medal game. What other? I think that's the end of because I think Sunday is the final. You have volleyball. You have the women taking on Italy in women's volleyball. I think this is the full team on team. I definitely got to check into the handball. Germany is taking on Denmark. So I definitely want to see that. So, and then you'll have some cycling and the athletics women's marathon. I think that's it. And then, you know, that should be the end of the Olympics on Sunday. So, I mean, hey, you know, we're coming to an end with the Olympics, man. And it's been a great series. I don't want to say series. It's been a great tournament. Let me say that. You know, to sit back and watch what's going on across the country, man. You know, just sitting there and seeing that. So let me see. You have the men also winning the 400 hurdles. Raj Benjamin won the 400 hurdles. Heptathlon, Belgium won that. The men's triple jump, Spain won that. Oh, yeah. And in the women's 400 final, the Dominican Republic, first time that a woman has won gold in their first gold ever. Marleti Paulino, she won with a I believe a Olympic record of 48.717 in the 400 meters. I was watching, and when she came around that bend, man, she was gone. She was totally gone. No one was going to catch her. So, but again, that's congratulations to her. That was outstanding. I'm just scrolling down. Beach volleyball. Looks like Brazil won beach volleyball. Boxing. And you have breaking. Looks like the B girls, Japan won the breaking in the bronze medal. China won that in terms of breaking. This is the first time breaking has been there. So, but just going scrolling real quick, just taking a look at different events. Looks like these are the last few events. Table tennis, everything is gold medal. So, but again, love it, appreciate it. I've been watching, like I said, the different events, water polo, the gymnastics, hopefully you guys were able to tune in once in a while to, check out some of the events there that was happening. So, and that's pretty much what I just wanted to tap in. We're getting into the home stretch. I'll be, again, getting back into the WNBA. So, once this is done. So, Charles Barkley is not retiring. I know he was talking about it, but he's going to stay with TNT. Look, $200 million. I didn't think he was going to retire. Once I heard how much money, was left on his contract, I figured he was going to stay. So, and the NBA also released their Christmas Day schedule. Just had it. Let me just pull that back up. I know my Knicks on Christmas Day will be taking on the San Antonio Spurs. So, yeah, have 5 Christmas Day in games. You have the San Antonio Spurs at the New York Knicks, the Minnesota Timberwolves at the Dallas Mavericks, the Philadelphia 76ers at the Boston Celtics, the Los Angeles Lakers at the Golden State Warriors, and the Denver Nuggets at the Phoenix Suns. So there's some pretty good games there. Definitely, of course, as a Knicks fan, definitely want to see San Antonio, especially with Wemby coming to town. Minnesota and Denver, Dallas, definitely going to be, especially after this playoff. And then the Sixers and the Celtics. Man, what more can you say, man? That's prime time right there in its own, man. If you're an NBA fan, you definitely want to see those games right there in itself. So even the Nuggets and the Suns. I mean, I know some people don't want to see the Suns, and they're sick of Durant for whatever reason. But those are prime time players, and that's what the NBA is about. They're about putting on those prime time players. The Lakers and Golden State, Steph versus LeBron. And is this going to be, the final series? Will one of those two players be retiring from here? So you never know. So it's going to be interesting, when those games come out. I'm going to be tapped in on Christmas Day. So, unless there's some interesting NFL games going on, then is that on? I got to double check when Christmas is this year. So, but again, it's going to be it's going to be fantastic. The old saying, NBA action is fantastic. Well, that right there says it all in itself. Seeing high level NBA games and on Christmas and during the Christmas time, great time, especially as a Knicks fan. And shout out to my man, Jalen Brunson, being named captain of the New York Knicks, man. The last time was Lance Thomas. He was the last captain of the Knicks back in 2018. So, but shout out to Brunson, well-deserved. He's a great ambassador, great representative of the team and also of the city. So, definitely wanted to shout him out. And then Lauri Markkanen, he signed a 5-year, $238 million to stay with the Jazz as an extension. So I believe, he can't be traded this year, or there's a certain point in time that he's locked in before he can be traded. Towards the extension precludes him from being traded for 6 months. So and it pushes him past the February 6th deadline. So he's not eligible to be traded until next off season. So that's where that comes into play. So the money is flowing there in the NBA. So, but that's pretty much it. That's what I wanted to tap into today. In terms of another Read and Attack Sports Show Live. Gave you my perspective on a lot of the different things in the sports world, from the NFL to the Olympics to the NBA. So I'm going to be giving you guys more. I'll be back on Monday with another one. Tomorrow I'll be tapped in with my man Philly Halftime for another halftime coaching adjustment show. Also with Giants Conversation on Sunday, and Tuesday with another Heart of the City. And then I'll be with the Pick and Roll podcast, doing it for the R by News show for Rutgers Athletics, and then also as with the we should be coming back with the Full Court Press on the WNBA. So I'll be definitely around. Make sure you guys tap in. If you have any questions, you can hit me here in the chat, or you can hit me on Twitter, SkySpapa72. Definitely hit me in the DM, and I'll get back to you. So, but with that being said, appreciate Man Cave for tapping in, Arku, Raph, Normal Guy, Chad, Daniel Berry, Philly Special. Thank you guys for tapping in. All you guys who are still there in the back, just sitting back quietly, I still appreciate you guys. Thank you for being there. Everyone, you guys have been phenomenal. I truly appreciate you guys. So, but with that being said, I'm going to get ready to get out of here. And like I always say, in sports, make sure you turn it on and turn it up. Peace.
Yo, it's Coach Ed. Got the insights, no boats. From the rookies in the youth leagues to the seasoned pros, ladies balling, fellas fighting all around the globe. Breaking it down dynamic. Tune in, listen up. Don't want to miss the flow. It's Coach Ed Read and Attack the Sports Show. From the courts to the field, he's got the stats. Dropping out is where the real fans at. So stand up, get ready for the play. Wave your arms in the air, let's hear you say. Coach Ed, our mentor on the mic. Breaking down the game, every highlight. Analyzing plays, court the turf delight. Youth leagues, college dreams, pro spotlight. Tackling the flats, defense or attack. He's got the vision, shows you where it's at. We grab the scoop, no stone left unturned. And Coach